Hello, and welcome back to the DrEnderPickles show. Today we have a very special, uh, renowned 2B2T player with us today. This is the first ever appearance of the Grand Lotus. Lotus, how are you doing this evening?
Hello, DrEnderPickles. It's a pleasure to be on your famous show. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, thank you. So Lotus, let's just hop right into the questions. Uh, Tell me about finding 2B2T, where you found it, how you joined.
Oh man, wow, what a trip down memory lane. So yeah, just like any other player at the time of the Rusher War, I had stumbled upon some epic YouTube video content in my recommended feed. Yeah, like I got into it. I would never really like use the internet up until that point. Like, I was a kind of a normie, so I went out like bought a computer and shit. And yeah, I got into it. I played like Anarchy on my PlayStation for a little, but it wasn't the same. And yeah, when I got into 2B, I joined in like really late 2016, and then again in 2017. It's a pretty fun time. Big
So,
FitMC fan, super huge Camping Rusher
oh
fanboy.
yeah. I mean, a lot of people that joined in 2016 were obsessed with Rusher. You know, you had one side or the other. Tell me a little bit about that climate and your perspective at the time when you joined, like how the server operated.
Right, so unfortunately for me, I was unable to join like during the actual Russia War. All I really was able to participate was like watching the videos and leaving my loyal comments and likes on the videos, right? Um, but when I finally got into it, it was definitely post-war. So there was so many new people coming and going, and everyone was like really poor, except for the people who had played before us. And during the Russia War, they were doing like a wealth redistribution, and the economy was on them. So it was a really good time when I first joined. So many new faces and like people just like really there for the experience and like wanting to actually play and enjoy all of it. It's a lot different than it is now in 2023.
Yeah, like how would you say it's different? Like how would you say people's personalities and attitudes towards the server are different compared to nowadays?
I feel like there was a lot more it was like a lot more awe-inspiring before. You were really there for the storyline. Like you wanted to be a part of it. You wanted to get your name in that page of the history book, right? The next page of it. And you wanted to, be a part of those big bases and you wanted to be the one duping. And I feel like nowadays it's so played out and just like the server owners and the admin team, they have had so much experience now to really like tweak and perfect it. It's just like a money dump now, like really. Yeah, a lot of the hacks don't really work. The PvP hacks are nerfed real hard, so PvP is a lot slower and less fun in my opinion. And then and with the stashes too, I don't think there's been like a good public dupe in a while, which I'm not complaining. I'm just kind of like stating as a fact. So a lot of people are poor now, and the only way to get items is to like go to shops and like, good luck finding a stash. Like everyone else is looking for a stash at the same time, so it's kind of harder to find stashes. Most of them have already been found.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you on that. I mean, dupes do kind of stimulate growth on the server. It kind of gives everybody a fair shot at having items and doing stuff. So I definitely get what you're saying in regards to that. It's harder for people to just spontaneously become wealthy and start doing stuff nowadays.
Right. I remember looking back like the crafting table dupe, the book dupe when they first brought that crafting book out, the one that Mojang patched like a day later. That dupe was brought to our attention like randomly after joining a test server, like a temporary server. So I don't think that sort of like vibe happens anymore where people are like loosey goosey with the dupe. Like, oh hey, here's the dupe. It's really like it's a well kept secret now. Anybody who can do it, and even if you can do it, I know how to do it. It's just such a pain in the ass. You need like hella macros, and there's like a 40% chance it doesn't work. You have to log on and off, and all the shit that Housemaster's done to like nerf the dupe. Well, from the logging on and off standpoint, like it's so hard to just spam log on and off now. It's like almost impossible. So
Yeah,
yeah,
and
different economy.
like
Different
the
economy.
crafting crafting book dupe, crafting table dupe, whatever. Like that was so easy to do. Like even the dumbest people could do that, you know. And I guess
Like me.
nowadays, like yeah, like and me too. And I didn't even like have to really do much to figure it out. Like it's so ridiculously simple. And I feel like if something like that nowadays was found, like there's no way in hell that anybody would ever try to give that up.
And it let you stack unstackable items, which was like the most OP thing. It really changed the server's history, and the kind of way that people went about duping items was a lot of fun. I know for about a year or two after, you would see people like in these secret markets like trading back and forth the various different stacked items that groups had duped until they became way more popular, and then those items became duped in abundance by every group once they were traded. So yeah, it was really fun to be like a part of all that, and like to see like all the groups coming and going and rising to power over their riches and spoil, and like seeing who had kind of like planned ahead the best, because you'll find that a lot of the groups they duped where they were when it happened. That's how it was. When the dupe came, you only had about 20 hours until it got patched. You were just duping where you were. You couldn't waste time traveling. So a lot of the stashes just got found because people were like duped close. And a lot of the people who were way out in the millions, they were a bit more successful. Like my group, we were able to last a few years, with just the shit we had duped from one time. So yeah, it was a great experience, man. It's not something I would trade for the world, the experiences that I've had here on the server. So
Wow. Well, that's yeah. I mean, well, tell me about a little bit about the success of your group and launching things in that time period. Like, was it easy? Was it difficult? And where did you find the inspiration to start making those plans and organizations?
so yeah, for anyone who doesn't know, I'm the founder of the group Highland. And Highland started when I was just a poor fag, and I wanted to help other poor fags like get organized, and the experiences I had from coming from as a person who never really used the internet or had a gaming PC or computer or anything, like that learning curve that I had to do. I was eager to teach others that and like get others involved and be that helping hand. And I know some people feel differently with the new fags, and I've been in and out of my own, like kind of back and forth between helping them and hating them
Well, they
and
used to be
whatever.
cooler back then, anyways. Like the new players, like they used to actually be tolerable.
Yeah, I mean, so most of them don't even speak English anymore. So that it is what we'll get to that one later, I guess. But yeah, so it was so much fun, and it just kind of I don't remember what the group was called. It was me and some other like kiddo, but the kiddo like dipped out then, and it was just me. And then I found a few more friends. One who I still play games with today, someone by the name of Fluffbuck3T, kind of my best friend on the internet. Hopefully for all of time, we play like every game together now. And yeah, it was great, man. I remember working like on a villager breeder, just being stuck on it. I got like one villager to breed, and that was it. And then the dupe came, and yeah, plans changed. So the inspiration really came from, I suppose, the Spawn Masons. They were a group who I just recently formed at the time, and I knew that I wanted to build and I wanted to interact with others. I wanted to enjoy the multiplayer experience. I didn't want to play single player with chat. That's stupid. So when I got invited to the Spawn Masons, another thing about not being from the internet to begin with is that I'm not like really into some of the more unusual topics of conversation. I don't really know how else to put it. You know what I mean? Some of the more like
Yeah,
edgier
some of the stuff
things.
2B's known for, the
That shit, yeah, that
toxic.
shit makes
Yeah.
me it makes me uncomfortable, dude. Like I'm just like a normal guy. So when I got into that Spawn Mason Discord for the first time, I remember like reading the chat and like scrolling up and thinking like, what the fuck? Like I'm here now. This is where it is. This is where it is, right? This is what it's all
Yeah,
about.
you've got like
And
Totorak making like gay fan fictions, and you've got
yeah,
Rebane making like My Little Pony fan fictions. It's just like
right.
you're
I saw some
experiencing
like
all
weird
that
porn,
degeneracy at once. Yeah, I get what you're
some like
saying.
gore and stuff. Yeah.
Oh
So
no.
I like it. It really for someone who wasn't used to that, it was like a lot to take in at once. And I knew right then and there, especially with having a child, I have a child, and I knew that I never wanted like my kid to see any of that stuff. So I wanted to create. There's no other word to play to say it. A safe space. I wanted to create a safe space for myself on Discord. So I created the Highland Discord, and it was pretty strict right from the beginning. No NSFW, no any of that. And that was kind of always the theme of it was like keep that shit everywhere else,
Yeah,
not
it's a
near me.
classy establishment.
Well, yeah, I suppose. There was a lot of shenanigans, some admin abuse here and there, but
Yeah, but classy shenanigans.
right. There's a dress code, if you will. We definitely had a dress code. You can't just come in waving your penis all around. That's unacceptable.
So you started this group, right? During an era of 2B where it's really easy to do that, and you're starting to develop it. What was kind of like the first big event that got your group known in the 2B2T big player space? Like what got you into the big leagues?
It's a really good question. Um, I'm not sure like my answer. I'll give you my answer, and then I'll give you the right answer. So I think it was a combination of the drama with the Spawn Masons in the beginning, and the fact that our first group base was like autistically 800k nether, and at the time that wasn't like really a thing, you know. We traveled out using the pig speed with the Xdolf client, and we made a base just like hella far out for no reason, and we just were inviting like everyone to it, like just come out and build if you want. If you were autistic enough to travel that far, like you were cool to build with us, right? And that was what caught the attention of the spawn masons at the time. And I'm not sure if that's like what made us like get the attention and like the drama there and the interactions I had with that group of people. But for sure, what kind of put it on the map was this player named Diallo Tai. Diallo Tai was streaming a lot. He always streamed, and he was part of the group, and he like repped the Highland. And they did that Project Obsidian Sky. Do you remember that one? Like before, it was like really big.
Yeah,
It
that
was a
that was like the
small one.
initial. Yeah,
Yeah, it was only supposed to go out to 500 blocks, and it was at the time it was like a big deal. You know, we didn't have the hacks or the manpower or even the resources, but somehow it like got done, and I thought it was cool. And I remember after that, there was a little bit more exposure, and Imperium was like forming at the time, and they kind of were like, "Oh, this is our enemy now," and um, you know how they were. You remember how Emperor was? He was kind of like stick a finger in your pot, try to make it his pot, and if it didn't work, you were his enemy now
oh
type
yeah,
deal.
he's
So
he's super different now compared to how he was back then. He was vicious back in the day.
I really haven't kept in touch with him, so I wouldn't be able to speak on that.
Yeah, he's an old man now. He's washed up.
Washed up. He's a university guy now. Is he done with university yet, or?
No, I think he's still in university. He's so distant now. He's barely ever on Discord.
Right. I mean, that's kind of how it goes, man. You really make a lot of sacrifices in your life when you play like on this server and try to be a big part of the community. And I mean, I don't know if many people have had like more success than I have with it, like balancing real life and the server. But it is challenging, and it requires like a lot of time and dedication. Like, you know, if you really want to make a group and have it be active and successful. So.
Yeah, what were some of the difficulties that you found in managing your time and running a group? Like, what were some of the hardest things you had to deal with?
So some of the hardest things I had to deal with was just like balancing my life in general. So I just had a kid born. I was working night shift at a job, and like being able, I definitely sacrificed like being more like affectionate or involved with my relationship with my child's mother at the time, and that relationship failed. Like I'm not afraid to admit it at this point, looking back, and it just didn't work out. I remember like having talks at length with her about wanting to play on the server and hoping that she would be there to support me, but in the end, she wasn't into the game life. You know, the game life wasn't the life for her. So I get it. I understand, and it just didn't work out. So that was definitely one of the biggest challenges. I can happily say that we're peacefully co-parenting now. Really good relationship. You know, raising a child together isn't the easiest thing to do, but we're making it work. And yeah, so that was basically it. I think was just like trying to balance like the home life and like doing the shit because I would work night shift and I would come home in the morning, right? And I would play like 2, 3, 4 hours before my child woke up, and then I would take care of my child for the morning until right around lunchtime, and then I would sleep till like 7 o'clock and wake up and eat dinner and then go back to work. So yeah, really, really hard. Just that schedule in general, like working night shift, led me to play a lot of 2B2T in the beginning, and it's really snowballed after that. You know, where I just was like, I couldn't wait to get off of work and come home every day. It's like play 2B2T, you know? So yeah, warning to all the. I mean, it's not the same anymore. Like it's very hard now. I'm sure you can agree to get on the server with nothing and start like a group where people are serious and they follow you and they don't blow your shit up
Oh
completely. You
yeah,
know?
it takes a lot more time and attention than it used to. Used to, you could just do whatever you wanted, and there really were no consequences because you could just dupe it all the next day and you're good to go. But
Yeah, as long as you were giving new fags items, they would just like
yeah,
do whatever.
but yeah, I get what you're saying. That's crazy though. That like technically 2B2T was like the catalyst for all of that. And I mean, at any point did you kind of like come to your senses and were like, okay, I need to back up from 2B2T and start focusing on other things because this has been like a direct cause of a lot of issues.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. For me, it was the opposite way. It was like when I realized that my significant other wasn't, emotionally like prepared to support me, like through that, through what I'd like asked to be supported for. I knew that it wasn't gonna work out. The
Yeah, it was
relationship.
like a test per
It
se.
was kind of like everything's a test. That's kind of my philosophy. Everything in life is always testing you. But it definitely it spoke volumes. Actions always speak louder than words. So when I saw the events unfolding, I was like, wow, like no support. Shout out to you. And I will never be that way. I support my baby mom 100% all the time.
Hell yeah, hell yeah.
All
That's very respectable. But talking about tests and testing people and maybe getting in people's heads. I want to know about the situation with the guild. Can you tell me a little bit about that Smack Attacks group?
Yeah. Okay. 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 Yes. Absolutely. I don't even know what happened then. Right. So this is like my like heyday on 2B. I'm running around. I'm inciting groups. Whatever. Just trying to get any chords I can. Trying to get any stash I can. And along comes this like autistic player named Smack Attack. I can't even with a straight face, man. If you've interacted with Smack Attack, you understand what I'm saying. Have you
Yeah,
had the
he was actually, I don't know if he's the last person I interviewed. Yeah, I think he was the last person I interviewed before you. So,
Okay, that's not the same, man. So interviewing Smack like recently or whatever is not the same as like playing with him during his day, right? Like this guy was an absolute fucking artist, and it was so horrible. So I guess he had this group, and it's so long ago now, man. But I remember I went out and I had like thought of this username that I really liked, and it was a girl's name, and it was I went and bought the account, and I was pretending to be an e-girl, and I wasn't very good at it because I was just learning how to like pretend to be someone else. And I remember Bullet was teaching me. He was like, um, "You got to like text differently. You can't like type the way that you do normally. This and that." And I was struggling because Smack. I was pretending to be a girl around Smack's age at the time, which is like looking back, man, it's it's a little suspect.
yeah,
I'll admit.
that's some stuff like Kill It would do. Like that's some Kill
Yeah,
It
yeah.
type shit.
So like I didn't really know what to do, but he was on the verge of giving me his stash chords. It's Easter weekend, and I'm at my family's house. So I give my 14-year-old little sister $20 to VC with Smack Attack for like a half an hour.
Holy shit. Oh my god.
And she's sitting there, and every time he asks her a question or talks to her like about something without context, I mute the shit real quick and I tell her what to say real fast, and she says it, and he's totally convinced. So after this conversation, I go back to just messaging him then on my phone, right? Like throughout the family dinner, and he just gives me chords to like all of his bases, all of his stashes.
Holy shit.
I'm sending them all to Bullet, and the boys are
Yeah.
going through 'em, blowing them up. And I went through personally to one of the stashes though, and just for the lulz, I stole all the items, and then I looked up what the chunks were supposed to look like on like chunk base. And I reverted all of his stash back to like natural terrain.
Oh, that's an intense dedication to trolling.
Yeah, it was bad. So then when he went, I remember talking to him later when he was looking for his stash, the one he was looking for like hours. He's like, yeah, it's around here somewhere. I can't find it.
Oh wow, yeah, that's crazy to like make him think that like it's not blown up, but he just can't find it no matter like
Right.
where. Wow, yeah, that's genius.
Yeah, it was a good time, and it was just like something I really wanted to fuck with Smack Attack because at the time everybody was bullying him. Like he was the one in the community like you wanted to fuck with, but I'm not like mean like the other people. Like you know what I mean? I'm not like just gonna like call you a faggot 100 times or bully you. Like I really want to go above and beyond. So yeah, Smack Attack got the extra worse for me, and I feel bad, and it really it didn't help. Like a lot of people found out what I did, and they were like, "Oh, you're a pedophile," this and that. So it definitely got some bad rep on the Grand Lotus name. But you know what they say, bad press is good press, dude. Any press is good press. So I'm not too bad about it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's definitely a mindset to have. I mean, has there been any like intense trolls like that you think maybe outweighed that troll, or has that been your biggest troll on 2B2T?
Well, that's probably the biggest one.
Have you done anything to like a similar caliber?
Um, the only thing I can think maybe is do you remember the highway group called IIS?
Yes, yes, I know what you're talking about.
ISS maybe?
I think it's IIS.
Yeah, there was this guy. His name was the Fifth Age, and he was just I don't know. I talked to him in VC once, and you know, he was just like an absolute douchebag. Just an absolute douchebag, man. So I convinced his e-girl admin partner to betray him, and we still stashed together.
Wow, did you make her fall in love with you?
No, I definitely wasn't like that.
Oh, you just got her to switch up on him?
Yeah, when Lotus starts whispering in your ear for long enough, you know.
Yeah, but I mean, you have I know you've kind of gotten around in the 2B community. Like, has there been any women of 2B2T that have fallen for the Lotus spell
Oh,
per
you know
se?
what you're getting. I know what you're getting at here.
I'm not saying
Listen,
anything specifically. I'm just
listen.
asking as a general question.
I know what the rumors are. Listen, I can confirm that there have been several honeys that have fallen for the Grand Lotus, but only one that has truly been dedicated enough to follow through.
Who's
And
that?
I've got this saying, the saying, you either
Okay.
want it or you don't. You either get it or you won't. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes
And
sense.
yeah, and I don't want to leak any names, but she's a long-standing member of the HWU. Uh, part of the trip that we met up in person. You know who I'm talking about.
I'm aware.
I'll let you share the name if you feel so inclined to.
I
But
mean,
I
I,
know
I don't,
Kiss and
I don't,
Tell
I don't,
Bezos
I don't
has.
want to if you don't want me to. I feel like I don't want to put you on the spot or that person on the spot or you on the spot or anything. I don't mind, but I also don't want to like.
I don't kiss and tell. You know what I'm saying?
I got you. I mean, that's
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I guess while we're on the topic, I mean, we did meet up in real life. That's kind of crazy. I think you're like the first guest that I've had on ever that I've actually just like met.
Well,
Um, well, that's actually probably not true. I mean, I guess it depends on how you look at it because I met Keenan Ron at least recently, and I've interviewed him in the past. But you're the first person I've met since I've interviewed. Like I'm interviewing them since I've met them, so we kind of have that to discuss. What was it like meeting me? I'm sure some listeners would like to know. Like, what's your honest opinion? Don't hold back.
well, let's share this, man. Okay, so for the viewers out there watching the DrEnderPickles show, I would like to say, fuck Bezopassin. Okay, I show up to this meetup of all the 2B2T players, and everyone thought it was wise to bamboozle the Grand Lotus and tell me that Bezopassin isn't Bezopassin. He's just some random no name from fucking Wisconsin or something. I'm not into that. Okay, I'm angry for about 35 seconds flat and then someone gave me some weed and it was all right. So yeah, it was chill,
You're
man.
you're leaving out the best details of that troll though. It was meticulously planned and like
Yeah,
seeded
that's fucked
throughout the
up.
entire day. It was well only because you're the target of it. If you were on the other side of it, you would have thought it was hilarious.
I agree. I would have. I'm not upset.
So
Good, but not. It
basically,
had to have been thought
yeah.
of for premeditated way longer than
No, it
that.
was
You
like it
guys,
was like a day in advance, and we were like, okay, what if we just don't tell Lotus that like I'm Bezo? And so like we did the same thing to a Fuzzy Russian as well. Um, but like not as intense. But like, so okay, get this. We go to Hibachi, right? And we're all sitting around eating food, and we're talking about where we want to go next. Because we're going up to New
Uh,
York on the trip. And I was like, man, when I'm in New York, I'd love to stop at Highland, New York. I've really wanted to go to Highland. And
what?
all of a sudden, I see this guy Lotus turn to me, mid sentence, and look at me dead in the eyes, just in pure confusion and fear, and just like I don't know, I really don't know what you were truly feeling
I was
when I
gonna
said
kill
that.
you. I was thinking of killing you, dude.
Was it just like at that point? Did you like know that I was a 2B player, but you just didn't know which one I was?
I was thinking at that moment that I would have to take you to the old family farm, dude. It was like real bad. I looked at Annie,
Really?
man. I remember I was like, "Uh oh, dude, like, what's going on here?" And I looked at you. Nah, it's not that serious, man. But I genuinely, man, and like no disrespect, I had no idea who the fuck you were like
Yeah,
until
I
we
think
really
I
met.
told you when you were taking a shit.
Yeah, and I just remember thinking like, "Oh yeah, we were in the bathroom,
Yeah,
wasn't
you
it?"
no, you went to take a shit in the bathroom, and then I like started banging on the door, and I said, "I'm Bezapazin, bitch, get fucked, you got wrecked," and you started like screaming in the bathroom. It was great. That was awesome. That was a great time.
I also had fun, man. I also had fun.
Like we played Dungeons and Dragons too. Yeah, we all played D&D.
Yeah,
That was the first
so.
time I've ever played D&D.
Hey man, and I really want to let me ask you a question now.
Okay.
Did you enjoy playing Dungeons and Dragons?
Absolutely, yes. It was. I mean, it was definitely something that I feel like if I knew more about the game itself and how to play, I probably would have enjoyed it more. But I feel like maybe that also contributed to how much fun I had because I could just kind of like bullshit and just make up stuff and have fun, and it was that was also what made it fun. Um, and also,
I had a lot of fun playing with you, man.
playing with 2B players was just that was sick. That was crazy.
You were a great player, man. I'll give you that for sure. I thought you were definitely having a lot of fun, man.
Thank you. What was I? What was I like a goblin or like a goblin butler? Yeah, it was sick.
And that's
Um,
my goal always is to make sure people who get introduced to that hobby are
yeah.
introduced in a positive way. A lot of horror
Um,
stories out there.
yeah, and I guess we can kind of segue back into like the actual server stuff now. Kind of get some closing questions going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, like what was you said you like to introduce people to different stuff, and you were talking about how you got this affinity for new players, and what was some of the ideas you had in terms of helping new players? I know you had a big reputation, especially in Highland, for helping out spawn people that
Right.
spawn like new players and giving them stuff. Where did that kind of come from, and what was some of the stuff that you did?
Right, absolutely. So I've done a lot of things to help new players over the years, and I've done a lot of things to not help them. Um, for starters, after I had successfully completed the crafting book dupe thingy, I had so many items, like bro, like base person. So I had so many items. I had no idea what to do with them. And my mindset before this was, okay, I'm gonna be this poor fat king who helps poor fags, right? So now I'm this rich poor fat king. I'm gonna help poor fags. I spent the entire year of 2017 just giving away items at spawn. I would literally just go to spawn to give people stuff. Here you go. Just take the. Oh, hey, are you a new player? Here's a shulker of gapples. Here's a shulker of shulker shells. Here's a shulker of armor. Here, just do whatever you want. I would just giving stacked things away to new players and telling them like, hey, don't open this box, and not giving a fuck if they open it or not. Because I just had so much shit. If they wanted to lose 1,728 totems and only have 27 of them, by all fucking means. So yeah, it was great. But also, throughout this time, I've actively taken a part of every incursion since I joined. With the intent to like make it as difficult for new players to join as possible. But I don't know. If you've been a part of the incursions, I'm sure you have. They've all been just like absolute shit shows.
Yeah, it's also like a rite of passage. Like being involved in those kind of events is what makes 2B fun. And even if you have a mindset of helping new players, it's important to be present for those.
Absolutely. And there's lots of groups who have done more to make the server like more difficult to escape from. I'd like to give a big shout out to like Blocky Block Block and the Infinity Incursion. Like, I mean, they really went all out with some of those projects, like bombing the Nether and the fucking Water Cube. And like, you heard it here first. All those FitMC videos, guys, they're just not true. FitMC like gets his sources completely wrong most times. and the real story is always like hidden somewhere else in the community, a secret. So yeah, it's fun to have been a part of almost all these experiences, like since I started watching the FinMC videos back in the day, and knowing the truth of what's happened behind the scenes, like having been there. So yeah, it's always been a really fun time.
So I just randomly thought of this question, and I'm kind of glad I did before we wrap things up. Where did the inspiration for the infamous Lotus toilet pictures come from? You've taken at least 4 or 5 that I have
2023
saved.
coming soon. 2023 shit selfie coming soon as well.
Oh,
Don't
another
be
one?
like yeah, it's coming soon.
How
I
often do you
haven't
do these?
I do one every year. And this started I don't know, man. So like okay, I do know actually. Do you know the player Midland Massacre?
Oh, too well. I have many stories. We could actually get into a whole conversation about Midland, but I
I would
won't.
rather
I
not.
won't
I
get carried
don't
away. Yeah.
yeah, I don't have
Did
much
you
high
know?
regard
Did
for
you
this
know though
place.
he's a pizza delivering felon? I don't know if you knew this.
I believe so.
He asked for blowjobs on Reddit. I've looked at
I
his Reddit history.
And just for the record, anybody who watches the DrEnderPickles show, UFO Crossing is best friends with Midland Massacre. Just so we're all on the same page here. Okay, let's
Yeah,
get that.
interesting. Go ahead though.
Okay, so Midland Massacre, when he first joined 2B, just like many players, he may have found the Highland, he may have joined, he may have participated, correct? You know, this is going to happen. You're going to have some bad apples come in. And he did very well to contain himself. And I mean, it's a classy joint in that Highland Discord. There's nothing in there that's fucking we don't fuck around in there.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
he managed to stick around for almost a year before finally getting his participation status revoked. But in that time, randomly, he had like shared a picture of himself shitting naked on a toilet, but his like stomach is so fat, you can't see
I
anything.
have that picture.
Right, I'm sure you do. But it inspired me. I called him ugly and like a loser and told him like this is what a real man looks like when he shits.
Oh,
So
so
I did my
you were like mogging him, kind of. You were kind of like
right, right.
flexing on him.
But no one remembered the Midland shit selfie, right? Because he's a no name. But everyone remembered the Lotus shit selfie. So then the next year, I'm getting, some players are heckling me. Oh, this shit selfie. I'm like, okay, yeah, you want the next one? Like, okay, here's the next year's. And so it became like a meme for me, I suppose, where every year now, randomly, I'll join, and I'll just drop like a shit selfie of me, and it's always a different bathroom as well. If you'll notice, I always try to find a different bathroom to be naked in.
Interesting. Okay, so how many do you think you've made so far? You started doing this in what, 2016, 2017?
I think if you have all 5 of them, I'm pretty sure. If you say
Yeah, I've
you
got
have
at least
5.
4 or 5. I don't know
There's
how many
5,
specifically. There's
and I'm
5.
making
Okay.
the 6th one is dropping like soon. Like I just have to do it.
Yeah, you need to have like a countdown. Like this needs to be an event. This needs to be like we need to have like a huge event surrounding this, and you just suddenly just drop the photo. Like that's,
It's better when it's random.
I
I always just
guess,
like to
yeah.
drop it in a random general chat, and the people it's like a trading card.
Yeah, yeah,
uh,
it does hold a lot of value. It's kind of like collecting all the Infinity Stones. Collecting all the Lotus toilet pictures.
and they're SFW. They're good to go. You can
Yeah,
share them.
yeah, exactly. I could probably put them in the video if I wanted to.
I'm a classy guy. I'm not gonna show my balls to children. That's absolutely disgusting.
Yeah, I mean, do you know somebody who has their name starts with the letter M? I mean, do you know anybody who has done that?
So, so for the record, I would like to say that Midland Massacre was really well behaved for a long time in the Highland Discord. I told him right up front, we don't do that shit here, and he just didn't do that shit there. He did it everywhere else. So I didn't know how bad the guy really was until after he was gone. So no, I did not. I didn't even know that was a thing. This is the first time hearing about it. That he's a federal pizza delivery agent.
Yeah, yeah, he's a felon. He delivered pizzas for Domino's, and we went through his Reddit history. The story is right. We had this picture posted on the Reddit, right, and he just lambasted it with like, "Fuck Orson, fuck 5C, like you guys are awful, terrible people." We're like, "Who is this guy? He's a huge hater." We go through his profile, and it's literally just Midland. Like he's got selfies on there of like him with his nose ring in, and like talking
Yeah,
about
yeah,
how
yeah.
like he wants to like sue
So
people for like not hiring him because he's a felon. Like,
so I did know he was a felon. I did know he was a felon. Then he was having trouble finding work. And when I knew him, he was um a stay-at-home nanny in charge of watching two young children
Oh,
for
yikes.
some rich lady and her cuckold husband,
I
and I
guess they
guess they
didn't do
were
a
like,
background check, or maybe the husband was like
dude,
into that. I don't know.
I don't know, man. But he got kicked out shortly after. It was reported to me that he had left his microphone on by accident while performing sexual relationships with the woman within the
Yikes.
vicinity of the microphone. Yeah, and
Wow.
yeah, he was kicked out after that. So
Wow. Interesting stories of
I can't
olden
be
day.
awake in VC 24/7. You know what I mean? Going back to it,
Yeah,
it's a huge
exactly.
commitment, guys. If you want to start a group out here, you need a lot of time. You're probably gonna burn some bridges. You're probably gonna lose a friend or two. You know what I mean? So be careful what you wish for, because you will get it. That's a fact.
Well, that's some sage advice to start wrapping things up here. But I do want to
I
know one
agree.
more thing before we close out. Compared to Jake the Snake's interview, how do you think this interview went?
I really liked it. I thought you had a way better introduction. This is my third interview in the 2v2T community. Not looking forward to many more. I only did this with you because you're a close associate of mine. So yeah, it was definitely better. Jake the Snake. I don't even remember doing that one. I must have been like really high, but it's like send a link to me, someone please. But yeah, he was awful. I remember, and then there was another guy. I remember doing another guy's one, and he was just the worst, man. He was
Oh,
the
it
worst
might have been.
interviewer.
I think I know who you're talking about. This is the Anarchy podcast. I think
Yeah,
you might have had
yeah.
Super. It might have been during the Super era because there was an era when Fast Fits did them, and there was an era when Super did them.
And he was the worst interviewer, man. I felt like the questions had nothing to do with me, you know? They were just like random questions. He asked me what my favorite cheese was. You know what I mean? Cheddar, obviously. But it's just, yeah, if you go back and watch that one, like, I wasn't enjoying myself. I had a good time during this interview. Thanks, Mr. Dr. Ender Pickles,
Wow, Cheddar,
for having me on your
seriously, you might
show.
get canceled for that one because it's clearly Pepper Jack, and you're wrong.
I'll admit, Pepper Jack is decent and close fourth, but Cheddar's the numero uno, baby.
Oh yeah, agree to disagree. Anyways,
Agree to disagree,
it's been
yeah.
great to have you on, Lotus. Thank you so much. Thank you guys for watching, and that has been it for the DrEnderPickles show. We are signing off.
Bye.